First of all guys, I post 2 new series, so go ahead and check them out over in the making. 3. What if Naruto was exiled from the Akatsuki clan? Go ahead and check that out and enjoy guys. And I also post a brand new series over in the making of what if Naruto was a hope of the Uchiha clan, so go ahead and check that out guys and enjoy. And for today I'm going to be giving you part 25 of what if Naruto was neglected and lost everything. Remember to get this one to 100 likes as usual. Share this one to all of your friends in your social media platform. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be replying and talking back to all of you. So yeah, without further ado, what do you say we begin this new episode? Start the intro. So, the last spot we left off. As Naruto was on top of the tower in the forest of death, there was a snake up there talking to him. As Naruto was rather surprised that Snake was talking to him, but the snake told him that he could sense the apprehension inside, and Naruto needed to face it. The snake then slithered away, leaving Naruto. As Naruto knew what he had to do, there was many things he had to do, but there was one that he needed to take care of now. Meanwhile, Anko was down there making a deal with Danzo, as Danzo wanted her newborn baby for her to get back the others, as he told her miscarriages happen a lot of time, and Naruto could never find out, as Anko wanted the others back. She had to get them back, so she told him yes, but that was when Danzo smelled the blood in the air. As he dismissed Anko and found the blood where the scent was coming from, and that was Mainjutsu and Kojo, using a silent killing technique as they slaughter one after another root agent, taking them down rather swiftly, not even giving them a chance to breathe. To defend themselves or nothing, they didn't stand a chance. Chaos erupted in the root base, nothing but chaos. As Danzo arrived, he quickly called Fu and Toru, because he sensed someone behind him as he saw Naruto coming down there. He told Naruto to go back to what he was doing and forget about this. But to his confusion and surprise, his technique was not working. He could not invade Naruto's mind. He didn't know what the hell was going on. Anko, her curiosity brought her down there as she saw Naruto. She cried, she begged him, but Naruto just shut her mouth. He was furious at her. She dropped back as she realized that Danzo control was not working. Naruto knew. She was in pain, literal pain, because she was afraid. Everything was ruined, as she was in tears crying. But Naruto didn't seem to care as she tried to speak Demi Fire, a wind jutsu that slammed right into her as she slammed into the wall. It wasn't as strong or fast as it was supposed to be, as she could have dodged it. But after what she did, she felt like she deserved it all. Yes, she was nothing but scum, and she felt like she deserved to die. And if he wanted to kill her by his own hands, then she wouldn't stop him from doing so. Yes, she would not stop him. As Naruto took on Danzo, Danzo let his fear be too much for him as he was seeing Tobirama. As Naruto gave him a swift, terrible. It was swift because he could not see Naruto. As Danzo released so much wind blades, but yet Naruto was unharmed, untouched. As Naruto picked Danzo's mind apart piece by piece and slaughtered him down to his last eye, as he cleaved in Danzo. As Naruto dropped the genjutsu, there was wounds over his body. He actually got cut by the genjutsu, not to mention his shadow and the chameleons. Danzo's fear was just too much for him, and Naruto's abilities were able to take him down. Anko then woke up as the seal on her neck had removed itself because of her emotional state as she entered that curse-marked form. As Naruto was able to subdue her by using the fox as he placed another mark on her neck where she passed out. We then skip as Kiba woke up as he found his sensei with Anko in a room. As Naruto told him that Katsumi passed, he was gonna transfer Hinata off the team. What she did, using the cage bird seal against Neji, Naruto could not forgive that he was disappointed in her. Hiba could understand that though. After all, Neji was Naruto's student, and the grotesque things that Naruto said about the birdcage seal and for Hinata to use it against her cousin, Hiba could understand. As Naruto told Hiba that Anko was pregnant, but because of the state that she entered, the baby died. Yes, that poisonous state. As Hiba placed a hand on his sensei's shoulder, trying to comfort him as best he could, but Naruto said he wanted to be alone as he nodded. Meanwhile, as Karen didn't know what was going on, as she was holding on to Yumi, that woman was the one that hid them there. As Nadi came in and told him that she was just trying to protect them. Protect them from what? She didn't tell. Meanwhile, at the village, as Yujito was a spy for the Akatsuki, someone was leaking information about the Akatsuki as she found Kabuto. Kabuto figured that it was Orochimaru or Itachi who got renounced for not being the one that killed the Uchiha clan. Yes, it was not him, as that was a shocking news to most people. As Yujito played it off when the Anju arrived as she left Kabuto. She was gonna leave Kumo. The Akatsuki had a goal of their own, but no one seemed to know what that was. Meanwhile, as Natty decided to tell Karen because the girl was adamant and learned about what was going on, as she told her that Yumi was not her sister, but Karen knew that they were not blood sisters. But that was not the problem. Yumi was neither Naruto or Anko's child. That was a shocking revelation. So yeah guys, those bits guys, some left off, you guys can switch across the please check out for yourself so to begin this new episode. Yumi is not your sister. Well, I know that. We're not blood related, said Karen. No, said Natty. She is not Naruto's or Anko's daughter either. I don't know what her mother wanted to call her at birth, since she died right after her child's birth. But she's an Uchiha. Wait, stop. She's not an Uchiha, she's Yumi Senju. And she... As Tsunade raised a hand, stopping her. Her mother was pregnant with her during the Uchiha massacre, and Danzo kidnapped her before Itachi or the Kirin ninjas could kill her. Karen was confused. What did Kira have to do with this? And her face showed that confusion. When you were attacked out there in the open, it was done by Kira shinobis wielding a Sharingan, said Snavy. No, that's a lie. You know it as well, said Karen. Listen here, Brat, said Snavy, that's... No! Karen snapped back at her. Those men were not Kira shinobis. Father also said that. That was a lie, but it was better than telling her grandmother the truth about her ability to read people aura. She could only trust her father right now, no one else. Fine then, the village believed that it was Kira shinobis. Thus, after your father killed them, Kira was blamed for it. And the Uchiha massacre, Karen was happy she knew that her father would not fall in battle. Itachi Uchiha is no longer a missing name, and he can come back to Konoha when he learns of this. What does that have to do with Yumi-chan? Karen asked. At first, she was just convenient to have her own. The man who did this wanted an army of private trained Uchihas. But with the death of the woman, after giving birth to Yumi, he had no choice but to resort to another method, one that revolved using Yumi. That required my help. He called Orochimaru, my former teammate, extractly the name of Konoha. He had Orochimaru used his skills to insert the Mokidan ability into a born child. Karen's eyes widened. But wait, Yumi was born 1 month before your real brother, Tobarama, said Snatty, and I was asked to lie about the newborn sex. Tobarama is a boy. So the exchange could be easier. That's impossible. Mom wouldn't have, she was a part of it, said Snatty. She's currently on a seduction mission. Seduction? Karen said, as tears started to form in her eyes. That meant no. Snatty simply nodded. Danzo was the one that sent the message to me to get me back to Konoha. He was also the one that suggested that I adopt Naruto in the beginning. He went through all the Konoha archives, and he found a law that would make my case sound, despite what Kushina wanted. And he also suggested exchange, to keep Anko in line so she wouldn't suggest anything or tell Naruto anything, seeing that he had her real son. And it was mostly so Konoha could prosper, said Snatty, as she seemed to force those words out. And not to mention he had a Sharingan, capable of helping him doing the deal. But he was your grandson. How could you let that happen? As Yumi started to cry, she didn't know what was going on, but Applechan was crying. I know, but Danzo said that it will help Naruto arrive on the seat of the Hokage, and Tobirama would be released afterwards in the end. And I wanted to avoid Naruto finding out that your mother, uncle, was on a mission. I didn't want him to find that out. It would certainly break him. I couldn't let him suffer more. So I burned down the archives with the mission reports, and I took the details of Uncle's mission. Yumi, calm down, said Karen, please, as she gently patted the girl. Why? Why do this? She asked Natty. The Sharingan that Danzo possesses has a power that enables someone's memories to change into fake ones. He did the same thing to me. He did the same with your father as well, to ignore any actions that were suspicious of Uncle. He did this to tie down Naruto to Konoha so that he wouldn't leave. And I did the same by hiding the details of our mission, as I'm doing this now by keeping you in here. Because as long as you're here, he won't leave. And when he will be named Hokage tomorrow, he will have no choice but to stay at Konoha. Why? Why are you so sure he will be named Hokage tomorrow? Whispered Karen, her head shaking in disbelief. Because tomorrow Minato Namikaze will die fighting Orochimaru, and the third will nominate Naruto as the next Hokage, and then all we have to do is hope for him to accept the title. But the fourth, said Karen, the fourth will die facing Orochimaru and the Akatsuki that is coming to Konoha to look for the other half of the Kyuubi that is within Katsumi. Karen's eyes bulged as she shook her head. No, you think my dad would go along with this plan? He would never let one of his students suffer if he can help it. Your father, my precious son, will know about this certainly by tomorrow. But I'll be off gambling my fortunes in the land of River, so everything will be fine. What if my father comes here then? Karen asked. What if he comes here to free us? I doubt he could. There are enough wards around here to stop him from coming, said Snatty. I wouldn't be so sure, said Karen. My father is known to be unpredictable. Yes, but if he is, I would take full blame, and everything will fall into place once again. I'm sorry, she said. She got to her feet. Don't ask for my forgiveness. You should speak to father and beg him for his forgiveness. You think you'd forgive me? I would stick the Raijin blade through your gut. But Dad would never do that, would he? Said Karen. No, I suppose not. As Nade reached towards the doorway, as Karen spoke, what happened to Mother? You never answered. She lost a child due to some complications with a seal. That's as much as I know. That Nade knew was a lie. She had been told about Danzo's death. The seal had probably acted up after her uncle found out that Tobirama was gone. Then it probably broke, and she massacred the root agents. Orochimaru said himself, the seal was powerful, especially the first prototype. As she walked out of the room, she shook her head. Uncle was the one that probably gouged out Danzo Sharingan eye. They hid it, to use it against Naruto. To think that their plan to give the fault of the Kazekage's death to Danzo was gonna go to waste. They were gonna expose the man for allying with Orochimaru. But now that he was dead, things were bad. But at least that solved the problem of Naruto no longer being mind controlled. But when would he start regaining all of his memories? And he still have some remnants of Danzo in his brain? That would be bad. That was why they kidnapped the girls. To keep them safe from Danzo, underlings, some of them must still be around, and Minato possibly. Tapping into the plan. The man was still wild card in this as well. And the Akatsuki. Not to mention Itachi, he was the most incognito. Whose side was he on? He told everyone. He told them about his failed attempts of making Naruto see reason. He told the Akatsuki the same thing, and yet they did not know whose side he was on. Orochimaru did not trust the boy. And Snavy did not know what he was planning, but he was certainly planning something. Why her former teammate had told her that she should not trust Itachi, she did not know. But she knew. If everything didn't go as planned tomorrow, something really bad was gonna happen. Every tiny detail had to go right. As soon as the door closed, Karen started to cry as well. Back inside, Karen understood now that is why the ocean was so black, with so much storm. They tainted her father with so much lie and deceits, tricking him, using him. But he would show them. He would show them. She knew of that. He knew exactly where they were, but yet he hadn't come yet, and she didn't know why. Did he too believe they should stay here to keep safe? Did he go off to face Danzo? To hell with stupid Kira Shinobi's Karen knew those had to be root, just like Sai. To hell with her so-called grandmother or mother or anyone else. She had Yumi-chan, and she had her father. That was enough. She wouldn't trust anyone else no matter who he or she was. Calm down, Yumi-chan, she said. She wiped her tears. I'm here. Mom, I want Mom, said Yumi. The girl had still been young, and Uncle wasn't much around her. Was there still time, Karen wondered. Karen bit her lip as she hugged her tightly. I'm here, Yumi-chan. Your mom is right here, she said, as she held on to her. Time skip, with Gaara. As Gaara looked at Itachi, but Itachi couldn't look back at him, because he had bandaged on both of his eyes. Something about offsetting the Mangekyou damage with pairs of other Sharingan that belonged to kin or something like that. What he did know was that Itachi disappeared for a while, and then he reappeared with two Kira Shinobis and a pair of Sharingan eyes. The two Kira Shinobis were the one that gave him the eyes. Zabuza had vouched for them. They were Shinobis. 7 swordsmen of the mist. Kiri was basically belonged to Akatsuki at this point, since Yagura removal of Mizukage and Mii's replacement. Thanks to them, as they played a part in it. Kiri was a part of the Akatsuki. Are you going to go and watch your sister's match tomorrow? Gurren asked, as she looked towards Gaara. He thought about it. It's been a while. I'd like to know how she fights now. So, if I have to fight her, I can knock her out quickly. Your brother too also made to the finals, Gurren said. Then, I'll watch him too. A minute later, Kisame arrived. As they were in a cave, a couple of miles away from Konoha, he placed on a sack and inside there was sushi, of all things. Tea, said Itachi. It's not easy to get tea when you look at me, said Kisame. Next time, send Gurren in or go yourself. You've been excused of all crimes. Konoha blames Kira now. Tuh, I should thank Kami that we're taking the fort down. The fifth seemed like a nice fellow, said Ninjutsu, as he was one of them that came with Itachi. As long as no one interrupt the fight, Orochimaru said, coming out from the shadows, there will be a new Hokage in Konoha, and I'll get to even the score with the fort. Did the Sand really have to mobilize? Gaara asked, as he looked towards Orochimaru. It's necessary, Gaara-kun. When they suffer defeat tomorrow in battle, they will need strength. You will then march straight into the village, demanding the Kazekage hat, offering them your power, and that of Akatsuki, with you on the seat of the sand, here with us, the sun under my command, and the hidden rain, and with Konoha having Naruto on the spot, we could crush the hidden stone, and give Roshi and Han their home back, and then move on to Kumo. Slowly, the elemental country will have no choice but to accept peace and grow with the Akatsuki new heights. You are a scary fellow, Orochimaru said Kisame, as he took a deep bite of a piece of tuna. Sensei was far worse when we were young, said Itachi. Itachi, you wound me. But I suppose Danzo has been killed already. But I suppose you know after all. You got his eye, didn't you? He had more than one free. His right arm was filled with them, Itachi said. Not. Tell me where you got the eye. I know. I implanted them to begin with. It was fun. Pity. Tobirama wasn't there for me to capture, Orochimaru said in a sly way. Well, we still have to try and take the Inuzaka. We need some leverage to make the Senju listen, said Gurren. And he's rather fiercely protective of his students. The Hyuga has fallen from his grace. Which brings me to the next question, Orochimaru. How is the new body going? Data, who had remained silent till then, spoke, while he placed a clay bird in the corner. He is preparing himself. All he wants was for his daughter to be brought back to life. Vado Tensei, said Itachi. You require a sacrifice for it, right? Yes, Orochimaru said. It seemed the elder, far from grace. As he chuckled to himself, his words cryptic as ever. Meanwhile, at a different era, sir, all the troops are in position. Tomorrow at dusk, the yellow flash falls. Revenge for the fallen. Revenge for the fallen, a chorus of shinobi said. Thousands were in a cave, literally thousands of them. And as a light beam peered on them, you saw the hidden stone headband on their forehead. The hidden stone really wanted me to dead, and this was a perfect opportunity. It seems like everything was turning and twisting into one giant chaos tomorrow, And it will be. Time skip. Minato was in his office. Everything had to go smooth today. No doubt, no hesitation, everything had to go perfectly. Today was important after all, no doubt. Everything had to go flawlessly. Once it was over, he could rest at peace because he had paid all of his crimes, all of his errors, all of his mistakes. After this day, his soul would be free. Not clean, or less dirty, but it would be free. Kilometers away, a horde of clay birds were being prepared by Deidara, as Kisame stood there watching, along with Neijutsu, along with Kocho, and along with Itachi. Today was extremely important. Everything had to be perfect. As the wind blew, a single raindrop dropped right in the palm of Okunoichi. As she was from the hidden stone and she clenched her fists. The village of Konoha was just waking up, but she would make sure that it go to sleep tonight and never wake up once again. The yellow flash would pay. That was a thought in their minds. That was a will of their Tishikage. She never fought the previous war before. She was too young for that. But she heard the tales of those who did. She heard the frights, the fear. She remembered seeing things about their eyes when they talk about the past, and it was just gruesome to ever witness. But right now she was just a scout. She wouldn't be entering the battle. She was just here to act as a messenger. In another spot, in the middle of the vast forest, sand shinobis looked through their fellow members tensely. Their mind was set today a great village will fall. For their leader they will face and destroy their foes. In the corner, Orochimaru, who was wearing the Katsukage's skin, gave the final pose. For today he would play the part, and when chaos is going on, he would, well, leave them to be. As the rain started to calm down hard, a gloomy day. How gloomier will it get? Meanwhile, the hospital, as a man stood there, his silver hair, his two blue eyes looking through the window, he heard a groan behind him. So, you're waking up. Uncle brought her hand up as she placed it on her head, as she had a terrible headache. She then dropped her hand to her side. Was I run over? She asked, as she looked towards Naruto with a mixture of worry and perplexity because he stood there. No. I admit, most of your injuries are my doing, but you brought the worst ones on yourself, Uncle. His tone was cold and chilly. Well, what are you talking about? She asked. Danzo is dead, said Naruto. His eyes are done. There is no more control, no more deceit, no lies between me and you. And you. Uncle head dropped as tears filled her eyes, as everything clicked back in her mind, as she remembered what happened. She felt like she wanted to puke. She felt like she had a stomach ache. She took several hard, deep breaths to calm herself from losing it at the moment. I understand, she said. I'll move out tonight. Can I still see the kids? Will you be there for him? She asked. As her hand rested on her stomach, she touched it slightly. Before she frowned, hadn't it been bigger? Wasn't there the movement of fluid through the umbilical cord that she could trace? A thought, a horrible thought, passed her mind. As Naruto stepped forward, he stood there just looking at her. He wasn't angry, not that she could see. There was pity and sadness. That just hurt her even more. It showed her how badly she messed up. No, she said, as she was touching her stomach. No, as the tears started to flow heavily. As Naruto looked at her, it was not easy to forget years of love. He could hate her, it was easy. All he had to do was forget. All the mornings they woke up together, all the time they spent at night, rocking Yumi to sleep, all the kisses in the morning, all the worrying about him, the welcome back from the mission. He just had to remember the lies, the deceit, the tampering with the brain, Tobirama, the betrayal, the fight, the removal of his mind, the twistment of his sanity to use towards her own goal. He just had to remember all of that. Yet, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy to forget everything. As to Uncle's surprise, he hugged her. She still cried, but he did. As she glanced up towards his face, there was absolutely nothing there. He wasn't crying. Nothing was on his face. Why? Just why, Uncle asked. The curse mark, said Naruto. When you renounce your will to live, it flare active. And the poison, leave. Just leave me, she said. She knew she had no right to be angry, but if he had just listened, if everything would have gone as normal, they wouldn't have lost their child. They would have still had their child. Yet he did not hesitate, he left, without a single thought, leaving her, to feel utterly empty and destroyed. As Uncle looked up at the ceiling, this was worse. Worse than anything else. She lost her baby. And now she lost him. She lost everything. She looked towards the window, the water droplets hitting against it. Because we're friends. That was what he said to her after. She almost tried to kill him. When the cursed monk first took over. And now. And yet she used him. She used him so much. She twisted his mind. For her own good. And she just watched it happen. She hugged and she kissed him. Knowing that his mind was being tampered with, but yet she didn't stop it. She lived for herself because she wanted happiness while he was being controlled. That is what I'm blaming you for. Being an egoistic bitch, caring about yourself alone. That is what he said down there to her. And he was right. It wasn't his fault. She was crying out to him. She could have left and he wouldn't have hit her with that wing technique. She could have left. She could have just stayed by herself. Knowing how much she messed with his mind, she could have just leave him. To vent out his anger on Danzo, but yet she had to go and say something. And now, the baby was gone. She could have come to him privately and told him the truth before, and find a way to act against Danzo. But no. She wanted this. Because she wanted her happy life. It was her fault as well. Now she was paying the price for all that she did. All the lying, all the scheming, everything. She was paying all the price. Was this how it was going to be? Was she going to stay here and mope for the rest of her life? If she wasn't, what was she going to do? He would never love her anymore. Who would love someone like her? Maybe she should just pack up and leave. Go to the hidden way for a vacation. She wasn't feeling all too well, but she needed air. She needed time. She needed space. So she stood up as she left the room. She needed air. Meanwhile, as Naruto had left the hospital, he had to keep himself calm. Senju. As Naruto turned to see Tasumi standing there, who was eyeing him with murder in her eyes. She was wearing her normal outfit, but an empty bottle of sake in her hand. It was broken. As Naruto looked at the woman, he had known that Tasumi had lost her husband years ago, when Kiba was young. One of the reasons why he had to babysit Kiba on missions. D-ramp missions, him and Itachi, and he shook his head. Kiba was a boisterous thing when he was younger, always running around, saying that he wanted to be as strong as them. As his mother was always working, she was always dealing with clan matters after her husband died. But whenever his mother came to pick him up, his eyes showed fear. Yes, he was afraid. Once or twice, Hannah had been there to make small talk or to watch her baby brother play. The few times Kiba got close to her, to grab a ball or something, she looked at him with disgust. Naruto knew all of this, but he couldn't act on it, because Kiba himself didn't want anyone to do anything about it. He recalled having to speak privately to Shino and Shikamaru, since the boy was asked not to denounce family abuse, but he knew that would just make things worse for him. So he did not. As Naruto turned to face her, she was already in a position to clash. Like she was about to jump at him. Next to her was Kuramaru. The dog seemed apologetic. The wolf dog had an eye patch covering his eye, his right one. He was the closest thing to a friend that Tasumi had. Sure, she had friends like other clan heads, but close friends. I told you to keep him safe, she said, as she was slurring a bit. And I hear that he's in the hospital. Naruto didn't care anymore. He had to know. Says the woman that broke his ribs, doing training. As he stepped forward, he had always kept quiet about everything. He let things run their course for too long. Kiba might be angry about this, but he had to. He had to. No longer would he let things just pass by like that without doing anything about it. Couldn't she understand what losing her child was like? Did she really think that Kiba wasn't going to leave her eventually, with all that she had done to him? Kid, no, don't anger her, she's already... As Kuramaru tried to stop Naruto, she didn't waste any time as she charged directly towards him. She slammed her fist into a wall of water as tentacles came from the water as she had to jump back. She looked towards her right fist that was possibly broken, she was shocked. Water as strong as steel. The pain was enough to sober her up. Either she lost her edge or the Senju was good. So she became like a dog, who was facing an unknown opponent as she started to circle around him. I'm his mother. I'm all he have in this world. And I have all the rights, she said. She narrowed her eyes. She heard that he lost an eye, but no, he had both eyes. Was one of them a genjutsu? What right do you have after all you done to him? You really expect him to keep on letting you be his mother for that long? As Naruto stepped on the water surface, it was different from water walking. He could literally ski on the water. As Tatsumi simply jumped as she spin. Getsuga! As Naruto waved his hand and formed a single hand sign, she crashed into the water wall. As he changed the water density, it became slippery, like syrup. The more strength she applied, the tighter it got, wrapping around her body, constricting her. I would stay still, said Naruto. You're going to tear your clothes away. And in this rain, going around naked is not befitting a clan's matriarch. And I would avoid putting pressure on her broken wrists. Kuromaru, she yelled. He shook his head. Tatsumi, I'm doing you a favor. You can't attack fellow leaf shinobis in the middle of the street, in front of the hospital. I will not forget this. Senju, Naruto stepped forward. Slap! A loud slap echoed through the place as he slapped her across the face. She stopped her ranks and stared in shock at him. I'm so tired of seeing spoiled, hypocritical women try and get their way. Shut the hell up! Kuromaru stopped moving to defend Tatsumi, but he followed the pack mentality. If the Alpha had been defeated, what hope would he have? None, and he really hoped that Tatsumi go back to her old self, the still rash, but didn't get drunk from morning to night. You have no right to get anything out of me, and especially you have no right to get anything out of Kiba. Tatsumi opened her mouth as Naruto backhanded her across the face, shutting her up. As she saw the murder in his eyes, she kept her mouth shut. He defended you for years. He always have an excuse, training too hard, pushing himself, always finding something to not make you look that bad. You think I don't care about him? He's my student. He's like a son to me. You think that taking your rage out on others because of your problems is gonna work? You think that hitting, crying, rage into the world, you think that work? Tatsumi was trying to think of something to say. She hadn't been hitting him, she was training him to become stronger. Maybe while she was drunk she hadn't dosed her strength. But that was an accident. So maybe she let Hana vent her frustration on Kiba as well. She opened her mouth as Naruto slapped her across the face once again. Shut the hell up and never show yourself in front of me or Kiba in this sorry excuse of a state that you're in ever again, or so help me to come here, I will beat you down into the ground again and again and again until you learn your lesson. You lost him. You lost him the moment you let your anger got better of you. You lost him the moment you let your grief send you in the wrong direction, in the wrong way. So stop. Stop and start again in another way. Because this way will only bring you pain and suffering. As Naruto turned his back to leave, the jutsu should stop working in a couple of minutes, he said, as he looked towards Kuromaru. Next time, if you act like this, I will use lethal force to defend myself, he said as he looked towards Tatsumi. As he left, as Tatsumi stood there, waiting for the syrupy substance to stop, holding her down. You know, Tatsumi, said Kuromaru, I think you got lucky to get out alive. I think so too, she said, as she chuckled nervously. You sure he's only 19? Tatsumi. What? I'm sober now, she said. Well, you're taking this surprisingly well. I thought you would swear vengeance. Hey, I'm a Jonin, not a Genin. I know when I'm overstepping my bounds. And I'm not taking a chance against the next Hokage, said Tatsumi. The thick substance gave away. Next Hokage? Are you thinking that far? There aren't any better candidates around. Yeah, don't care though. He wants my vote, he gets it. I might ask him out for dinner though. He's married, said Kuromaru. So what? They made their way to the hospital to get her arrest fixed. Trying to find Kiba room as well, but he has been discharged the night before. So he was probably at the Senju compound. Kiba had woken up with a headache as he held on to his head. At the moment, his caretaker was Neji. Yes, he was scared. Something about diffusing a situation over the Hyuga compound, so he didn't go over there at the moment. As Neji had taken care of Akamaru, the dog was well fed and not malnourished, and he was happy. Neji didn't seem like he wanted to talk about what happened with Hinata, so Kiba kept his mouth shut. Hey, can I ask you a favor, Kiba asked, as Neji was just about to leave for the stadium, but he stopped and looked back. If this is about letting Namikaze win, no, said Kiba. Katsumi would probably kill me if I told you to go easy on her because she's a girl. Fine then, what's the favor? Can you tell me if this seal is doing something to me when I mold my chakra? Sensei kind of told me that there was something poisonous around. Well, you have the Byakugan, so can you do it? As Neji narrowed his eyes, there was two seals. As there was one on top of another. He saw the one below on Uncle once or twice before. The other one seemed like a containment seal. He nodded as he activates the Byakugan. Mold your chakra, he said. As Kiba started to mold his chakra. Neji blinked before shaking his head. No, it is doing nothing of the sorts. Good. Then Sensei's seal work, said Kiba, looking quite relieved. You mind waiting for me so we can go to the arena? As Kiba didn't feel like going alone because of his headache, but he had to go there to cheer for his teammate. Fine, said Neji. As the Chunin exam didn't matter more to Neji, he just hoped his sensei knew what he was doing. As the two was about to exit the arena, footsteps, as Sasuke came in front of them in a hurry. His outfit was dyed in green and seemed like it was dyed back in blue. Truly, Sasuke was gonna kill my guy. First his mother, and now his clothing. Where's Naruto Sensei? Sasuke asked, panting. Sensei. He has things to do, said Kiba. Did you hear about Itachi? I mean, it was here all along. And yet, they blamed him for it. Why didn't he tell them? Why didn't he try and defend himself? I just don't know, said Sasuke, looking quite confused and perplexed at the whole situation that was going on. Just don't trouble Sensei today, he's having it tough, said Kiba. What is going on, said Neji. Yesterday, you look like a wet dog crying. But since you did not make it to the finals, I thought that was it, but if it involves Sensei, tell me what's going on. As the both of them turned towards him. Look, his wife was pregnant, okay? Wait, was? Said Neji. I see, said Sasuke. They could understand that. Well, we better show him that all of his training did not go to waste. As they made their way, Kiba made his way towards the contestant side, as he did not sit beside the Inuzukas. As the Kage booth started to get filled up, a seat next to Hiruzen was empty. As he shook his head, probably by the end of the day, who knew if he'd be reunited with his friend, rival. Tasumi arrived with her cheeks swollen, but no one said a word about it. Next there was an empty seat, as Hana was looking over towards where the Senjus should sit. He's sitting there, the mutt, said Hana. At least he has the decency to not show his face after failing. Hana. As Tasumi turned towards her. Shut up. As Hana looked towards her mother, shocked, before keeping her mouth shut. Maybe she was in a bad mood. Meanwhile, Hayashi was sitting at his spot. As even man looked a bit nervous if you look closely, the tension was just so high. Many of the main family members had demanded the blood of Naruto for finding a way around the cage bird seal. He was sure that by tomorrow assassination attempts would be there that he couldn't even stave off. They were angry, they were furious. But soon it would no longer be any of his concerns. He would do something extremely selfish. But he didn't care, the clan could rot in hell. As the contestants were down below, Genma, their proctor, counted them in his mind. So there was the Uchiha, the Hyuga, the Namikaze, the Nara. Kabuto was there as well, the clone of Might Guy. There was Miss Yume, the Aburami, and the two Sand Ninjas. The matches are going to be quite interesting, he thought to himself. Minutes later, the Hokage stood up to give his speech. From the balcony, a slightly bandaged Sakura and a coughing Ino sat down. In the Senju seat, Kiba had been kind enough to give them the place here, since it was kind of creepy sitting alone here in the Senju spot. Are you sure Senju-san is not gonna mind? Ino asked, as she coughed. Kabuto had won by injecting her with a strange coal that was forced her to withdraw and to get the cure, and it gave her this cough. She could have gone to her parents' store, but her father wasn't going to be there. He has been busy lately doing some ultra secret stuff. And the Senju side was closer to the contestant era, so she could reach her Sasuke gun faster, cheer him on faster, and maybe manage to catch a glimpse of. She blushed as she giggled. Nah, Anki would probably be busy for a while, said Kiba. He had some troubles in the hospital, he said, as he tried not to give away too much. Yes. Katsumi-chan told me, said Sakura. It is just sad. What? Said Ino. I'll tell you later, Ino Pig, said Sakura. You could tell me now, forehead, said Ino. It's complicated, said Kiba, but they're about to start, so quiet down with you. As both girls went quiet as Minato stepped forward to give a speech of encouragement, speaking about the will of fire. The Kazekage was there as well, as the man was smirking under his veil. When he was finished, the man spoke. Interesting speech, Hokage-sama. As Minato simply smiled back. As Minato gave Genma the go-ahead. The first match of Chunin exams. Katsumi Namikaze versus Neji Hyuga. Neji slipped into his battle stance as he ignored the piercing gaze of the elders towards the Hyuga side. On the other side, Katsumi held a kuna in her hand, looking over towards Neji, the first apprentice that Naruto ever had. She was going to go against a prodigy, a genius. That was what her mother had told her the night before. Her father had offered her little advice, but the more important thing he told her was to be careful about the fox. If it ever riled up, she had to stop the match immediately, because if her secret came out, things would be messy. I believe this match will have to be interrupted twice. For that, I apologize, said Neji. There's no interruption in the match, kid, said Genma. It's not like you can ask for a pause to catch your breath. You misunderstand, it is just that things will happen. To force you to interrupt it twice, that is what Sensei told me. Up in the balcony, guy narrowed his eyes. Obviously, the Sensei part wasn't me referring to him. So if that was the case, what was Naruto referring to then? As Lee looked up perplexed towards Guy. As Mikoto turned to look towards Guy. As he just gave her a smile and a thumbs up, her beautiful smile always charming him. I have no idea, my dear. Sparkling flame. Shut the hell up or I'll kill you. The voice came from the Uchiha side. Sasuke-san, it is unyouthful to say that to my sensei. As Sasuke glared at Lee. Meanwhile, Genma shrugged. Maybe it was some psychological trickery. But if that was the case, he did not understand why. Within the second of the speech though, Katsumi had swapped herself with a clone, as she had asked her father to teach to her. The match had started, so Neji had nothing to complain about when he do find out about the trick. A pity, Neji simply smirked with his Byakugan activated as he jumped back as the real Katsumi popped out of the ground. As Neji shot forward, murmurs ran through the crowd of the branch members. As Neji smiled, everything was going according to plan. Katsumi clone came in front of Katsumi, but Neji jumped as he spun just like the Getsuga as he landed behind both girls, hitting them both in the back. The attacks would have been frowned upon by the Hyugas because the points in the back weren't blocking anything, and it was just a waste. You could have gone for the knockout, said Genma, looking at the boy perplexed. First time, said Neji. Genma narrowed his eyes. He was toying with her, but why? Genma understood what the boy meant. He could interrupt the match if there was a clear winner, but why would you want him to do that? Katsumi run through hand sign. Kaze no Yaiba, she said. The attack was a gale with the amount of chocolate that she had, as it came in like a speeding train. Neji used his hands on the ground to push himself away from the impact as the attack slammed into the wall. Touching the hands on the ground was something horrendous for the Hyugas. It was just like... Genma then looked up as he understood perfectly. The boy was humiliating the Hyugas with every movement. To make it worse, as Neji went through hand sign, fire styles, he released multiple small fireballs towards Katsumi. He wanted to win without using the Jayugen style. The fireballs crashed on the ground, causing Katsumi to cough as Neji slammed his fist into her gut, knocking her out of the smoke. But then Katsumi poofed away as she grinned. Neji moved, avoiding the Katsumi that came out from the ground. The ground burst open as Neji was about to land. Neji smirked as he twisted his body and kicked her in the side as she was real one. She was sent sailing as she crashed on the ground. Katsumi clone charged as Neji slipped under it and punched her in the stomach, dispelling her. You're strong, said Katsumi. How much did you train? As she slowly tried to pick herself up. Countless hours, endless days. Uncountable months, said Neji. Hard work requires sacrifice, and with time, you can achieve it. You're doing surprisingly well, but there's a reason why I'm winning, and it's not because I'm stronger than you. As Neji blew away in speed, noises started to erupt on the Hyuga side. Why are they making such a fuss? It was then that Genma noticed a row of Hyugas with their headbands tied on their arm sit down in the Senju section. Genma knew a couple of them. They had been in Anvu together, but they weren't a part of the main house, so why? This is the second time you have to interrupt the match, said Neji, as he appeared behind Katsumi with a smile that will rival my guys in his best days. as the main members were shocked to their core when they noticed there was no seal on their forehead. As the branch house was sitting in Senju rows, their clothes a dark blue and green color, and on their right arm sported the Konoha headband protector, and on the left stood the symbol of the Senju clan. Sensei did say you have to interrupt the match eventually, but I draw it as long as possible. I forfeit, said Neji. As he touched his forehead, the cage bird seal, a fake one that Naruto had placed on him, crumbled away, showing his forehead completely unblemished. The howls, the rage of anger, Minato flashed right in the center. Takuma, Hodoto, even you two betray the clan's ideal. A elder asked, looking towards the two Hyuga no Senju members with anger. You taught us nothing but lies. We are through with this. We are no longer Hyugas. Your clan can rot in hell for all we care. We're Senjus now. We aren't gonna put up with this, a main member said. As the man seemed like he wanted to do something but a dragon. A water dragon grabbed the man and twisted him, as it slammed him into the wall, crushing the man into paste. Minato turned slowly toward the person. The cameras that would have been turned on the center of the arena showed as he pointed towards Naruto Senju. Sensei's mad nature pointed out. Then again, I wouldn't anger him if I were you. I hope you do though. Neji, you could have kept going, you know, said Naruto, as he stood on the rail, as Neji flashed beside him with a Shanshin, and missed the show. Please, Sensei, I'd rather be up here than down there. Naruto, what is the meaning of this? Asked Minato. Well, I found myself being offered a group of clanless shinobis, loyal to Konoha, so I took them in. And they had this nasty slave seal on them. And by the laws of Konoha I could remove it, and since it's a clan matter, you can't really say shit about it. So it's better this way. Listen up, you bastards! Hayashi excluded, said Naruto, as the members looked towards Naruto. And why was Hayashi excluded to begin with? The head of your clan signed a document granting a clanless status to the descendants of the branch family. Thus, I of the Senju clan can legally adopt them through the same act that your clan forced Hoshirama to sign. Want a copy? Said Naruto. I even have the original versions. Tobirama was quite picky making enemies, and even have the original notes to show. This cannot stand. Hayashi, surely he's lying. Hayashi turned towards Minato. He's not Hokage-sama. I signed the document myself. And I don't care what happened to him after this. Wait, why did you kill him? Asked Minato as he turned towards Naruto. By clan laws. Menacing, physical, action, intimidation. If anything is posed between clans, I have it in my right to physically help my clan mates. And that includes killing all these bastards if they try a single move once again. Or I could probably use the Kyuubi to take their souls and burn them forever into the non-existence realm of darkness. How does that sound? Said Naruto. As he looked at them, his expression was weird. They couldn't tell if he was making fun of them or if he was dead serious. People started to panic. He was bluffing, right? But Naruto never lied. He hated lie, meaning that he could use the Kyuubi to grab their souls. Minato sighed. Things were getting bad before it even started, and things were about to get a whole lot worse inside the booth. Orochimaru's smile just seemed to increase. Well, things were a bit shaky, but it doesn't matter. The plan was still gonna go on, and his leverage was right here. But guys, be in subscribe right here. If you want the next part, do like, subscribe, comment down below, turn on that bell notification, stay posted. But I'm off now. See you guys soon. Peace.